The summer of 1483 is a season of whispers. In the city of London, a shadow has fallen over the sun. Behind the grim gray walls of the Tower, a fortress that is both a palace and a prison, two boys are slowly disappearing from the world. The first is 12 years old. He is Edward V, a boy who was a prince one day and a king the next, now a captive of his own uncle. The second is his brother, Richard, Duke of York, a boy of 9, famous for his wit and charm, brought to the Tower to keep his brother company. They are seen less and less, first playing in the gardens, then only as pale faces glimpsed behind a barred window. Finally, not at all. The whispers turn dark. Their uncle, Richard, Duke of Gloucester, the Lord Protector of the realm, has declared them illegitimate. He has taken the throne himself, becoming King Richard III. And the boys, the rightful king and his heir, have vanished from the face of the earth. 200 years later, the skeletons of two children would be found buried at the foot of a staircase in the Tower. Were they the lost princes? No one knows for sure. Their disappearance is the greatest unsolved mystery in English history, a cold case that has haunted the centuries. It is a story with a beginning, a middle, but no ending, only a terrible, silent void. It was this void that allowed a new dynasty, the Tudors, to rise from the ashes of a civil war. Our world was built upon the presumed murder of two innocent children. But history is a story of moments, of locked doors and the keys that might turn them. So let us ask the question that solves a mystery and unravels a dynasty. What if the door was unlocked? What if, in that summer of fear, there was a plan? What if the princes in the Tower had escaped? Imagine a moonless night on the River Thames. A heavy fog clings to the water, muffling the sounds of the city. Inside the Tower, a conspiracy, born from a mother's love and a loyalist's courage, is in motion. Their mother, the Dowager Queen Elizabeth Woodville, locked in sanctuary at Westminster Abbey, has activated a network of loyal servants, a sympathetic guard, a bribed boatman, a change of clothes. The two boys, terrified but brave, are smuggled out of their royal prison, perhaps hidden in empty wine casks or laundry baskets, and spirited down to the dark, waiting river. A small, swift boat carries them downstream, away from the city of their birthright and their prison. By dawn, they're on a merchant ship bound for the continent. They are not princes now. They are anonymous boys, fleeing for their lives. Their destination, Burgundy, the court of their aunt, Margaret of York, a woman of iron will who despises the man who now sits on her brother's throne. The news, when it finally reaches King Richard III, is a political apocalypse. A murdered prince is a tragic ghost who can be blamed on your enemies, but a living, breathing, rightful king holding court with your foreign rivals is a catastrophe. Richard's claim to the throne, already shaky, now rests on a foundation of sand. He is not just a king who took the crown from his nephews, he is a usurper whose nephews are alive and well and telling the entire world that he stole their kingdom. Richard's reign transforms into a nightmare of insecurity. He has to spend a fortune on spies and assassins, desperate to locate and eliminate the boys. Every powerful nobleman in England with a grievance, and there are many, now has a legitimate alternative to rally behind. The great lords of the realm play a double game, professing loyalty to Richard while sending secret messages of support to their true king across the sea. The country is a powder keg. In Burgundy, the boys are no longer frightened refugees. They are the heart of a government in exile. The young Edward V, maturing under the tutelage of his formidable aunt, learns the hard lessons of statecraft. He is no longer an innocent boy, but a king forged in betrayal, determined to reclaim his birthright. This brings us to the year 1485 and the great pivot point of our history, the Battle of Bosworth Field. In our timeline, Henry Tudor, a distant Lancastrian claimant, invaded England to challenge a hated and isolated King Richard. But in this world, Henry Tudor's invasion is a much more complicated affair. Who is he fighting for? For himself? Or to restore the rightful Yorkist king, Edward V? His claim is now secondary, his position awkward. The great lords of England, like the Stanleys, who in our history betrayed Richard and won the battle for Tudor, now face a different choice. Do they back Richard, the de facto king? Do they back Tudor, the Lancastrian challenger? Or do they wait for the signal to rise for their true king, Edward, who is waiting with an army in Burgundy? Let's imagine the battle. The armies of Richard and Henry Tudor clash in the fields of Leicestershire. But this time, the Yorkist lords, seeing no clear advantage in betraying their king for a weak claimant, decide to sit on their hands or even fight for the crown they know. There is no last-minute betrayal. Richard III, a brilliant and experienced battlefield commander, holds his line. His larger army grinds down Tudor's smaller, less experienced force. By the end of the day, Henry Tudor is either dead or a fugitive, his army shattered. Richard has won, but his victory is hollow. He has defeated the Tudor threat, but he has not solved the problem of his nephews. He is a king who has won a battle, but has not won legitimacy. And now he knows that the great lords of England are only loyal as long as it suits them. He cannot rule a kingdom that is perpetually waiting for its other king to return. So, in an act of stunning political pragmatism, King Richard III does the unthinkable. He negotiates. He sends emissaries to his sister Margaret in Burgundy. He cannot give his nephew the throne. He has fought and bled for it. But he can offer him a future. He proposes a formal, legally binding act of accord. He, Richard, will continue to rule as king, but he will formally adopt his nephew, Edward, as his heir. He will name him Prince of Wales, the title he himself once held. The younger brother, Richard, will be restored as Duke of York. The House of York will be reunited. It is a bitter pill for the young king in exile to swallow. But his Aunt Margaret, a canny political operator, knows it is the only way back to England, the only way to avoid another generation of civil war. The deal is struck. In 1486, the princes returned to England. It is a moment of incredible theater and unbearable tension. The two handsome young men, once lost, now restored, ride through the streets of London to cheering crowds. They are welcomed at court by their uncle, the king who stole their throne. The court is now a snake pit. The old Woodville faction, loyal to the boys, and the Gloucester faction, loyal to Richard, circle each other with daggers hidden behind their smiles. King Richard rules for another decade, a powerful but deeply insecure monarch, constantly watching his popular, handsome heir. The young Edward, Prince of Wales, plays the part of the loyal nephew, all the while building his own power base, waiting for his moment. In the late 1490s, King Richard III dies, perhaps of natural causes, perhaps with a little help. And the boy who was meant to die in the Tower finally ascends the throne. He is crowned King Edward V, a man now in his late 20s, his brother Richard of York at his side. What kind of king is he? He is not a Tudor. He has no insecure claim to defend. He is the undisputed, legitimate Yorkist king. He has seen the cost of division. His reign is one of reconciliation. He marries a princess from a great house, perhaps even a distant Lancastrian cousin, to finally heal the wounds of the Wars of the Roses. He and his brother Richard, the two boys who survived the Tower together, form a partnership of absolute trust at the heart of the government. The House of York is stable, secure, and popular. And so the entire Tudor dynasty is a historical impossibility. Henry VII, the great penny-pinching founder, is a defeated footnote. His son, the monstrous and magnificent Henry VIII, is never born. The English Reformation never happens. England remains a Catholic nation, allied with the great Catholic powers of Europe like Spain. The dissolution of the monasteries, the break with Rome, and the burning of Protestant and Catholic martyrs, none of it occurs. The three great Tudor monarchs who were the consequence of this chaos, the zealous Edward VI, the tragic Mary I, and the legendary Elizabeth I, are ghosts. They are never born. The golden age of Elizabethan England, with its Shakespeare, its Drake, its victory over the Spanish Armada, is erased from the pages of history. The survival of the princes in the Tower did not just save two boys, it saved the House of York. It created a world that bypassed the violent, chaotic, and revolutionary furnace of the 16th century. It would have been a quieter, more stable, and more conservative England, a nation that chose legitimacy over upheaval. But our world, the modern world, was not born from that stability. It was born from the chaos that followed their disappearance. Our language, our religion, our very identity was forged in the fires of the Tudor succession crisis. We live in the grand and terrible monument built upon their presumed grave. The ghosts of those two boys are the foundations of our world, a silent, haunting testament to the magnificent and unpredictable consequences of a single, unsolved crime.
History is full of pivot points. If you want to explore more paths not taken, subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to help us create more alternate histories.